Hello? We may feel differently about this subject, and that is okay. This topic is present not just in J-pop circles, but also in K-pop and other East Asian communities that I've seen as well. Is the genre of J-pop or K-pop or C-pop, T-pop, etc. defined by the language that it's in? Can you make an English J-pop song? Now, my perspective of this is obviously coming from somebody in the West, America specifically. I have no intention of speaking over those communities and how they may feel about it, but based off of people that I've talked to and just the type of media that I see, I feel like I can make some educated guesses. I find that a lot of these different groups get lumped together into the same place, where in the West we would try to separate them a little bit more from our perspective. Generally speaking, there's no separation between Japanese and Korean idols when it comes to charts. For example, this survey of Japanese men and women and who their favorite idols are based off of age. There's no separation of Japanese and Korean idols. They're all just idol. There's also things like Perfume, who we all consider to be a J-pop group. They've talked about in interviews themselves how they get identified as idol and J-pop even in Japan, but they do not identify them that way. They don't see themselves as J-pop. So do with this information what you will. That being said, I don't think that language is the defining factor of these genres. I'm mostly going to speak on J-pop and K-pop as they're what I have the most experience in, of being a fan for over a decade of both, though mostly J-pop in recent years. First of all, genres are super wishy-washy to begin with. There's not really hard lines between each genre, and most artists will identify with multiple. But I think it's an interesting subject to discuss anyway. We're gonna be talking in broad strokes here. There are exceptions. There are exceptions to every statement that I'm gonna make in this video, and I am by no way insinuating that any group or song or anything can represent an entire genre of music. It's just not that black and white. I would very much consider the music that I make to be under the J-pop umbrella, despite all of my lyrics being in English. The reason why is because the production style, everything from the mixing to the composition of the song, is really inspired by J-pop and J-rock music, which has a very different sound than American pop and rock music. Because I don't have a heavy background in music production myself, I can't nail down exactly what it is, but if you play me a song, I feel like I can tell you whether it was produced by somebody who's mainly influenced by J-pop or K-pop music. Stay with me. Let me give you an example. DZU is a group formed in Japan whose songs are all in Japanese as far as I could tell and could find, but they are produced by JYP Entertainment, who are one of the biggest K-pop idol agencies. And you can tell. Now I want to stress that this isn't because of theming or cute versus sexy, which is what I think a lot of the J-pop versus K-pop discussion boils down to, but it's far more nuanced than that. Both can be both styles. It's simply something about the style of writing, the way the vocals are mixed, down to even the way that the singers use their voices. Let's look at these examples. So something like this song. Compared to something in a very similar genre. Both of these songs are upbeat, happy, cute leaning, colorful, but you can feel the difference, right? Even the style of filming is specific to each. Obviously, again, each group cannot represent each genre entirely on their own, nor am I trying to make that happen, but I think it's interesting. Let's look at examples from one group. Juice Juice is a popular Japanese idol group under the Hello Project company. Listen to these two tracks. Not only are both of these songs from the same group, they were on the same release. When Vivid Midnight came out, I immediately clocked it as being a K-pop song. I looked it up, and the person who produced this song mainly produces for K-pop idols. Also, I think that this does show that it's way deeper than just cute versus sexy, as Vivid Midnight is a super upbeat, happy, cute song, whereas Sexy Sexy is obviously a more sexy, dark song. The way the producer uses the instruments, the way they layer the tracks, the way that the vocals are produced, it's all very distinct. There's endless examples of this. IZ*ONE, is that how this is pronounced? I'm sorry, I'm sure that every person goes through this. Their release of Tsukito Iwasutai versus something like La Vie en Rose. The language is not what makes these tracks different. This is why I think that J-pop and K-pop can't really be compared as apples, as people tend to do. Both are great and have their merits. Generally speaking, they're different styles of music, just like how both of these genres are different from Dua Lipa and Taylor Swift. Now, I think you know where this is going because it's me, which means it always comes back to overseas idols. If a song like, for example, Non-Sweet's Time Slip, which has a heavily Japanese-influenced production style, is completely in English, can it be considered J-pop? Morning Musume's One and Only, not a J-pop song because the lyrics are all in English. Or is it because the singers or the producers happen to be Japanese? There's not really a right or wrong answer, if I'm honest. The main point that I want to get across is that these music industries have created such a distinct identity for themselves that to me, it's clear that it's a lot deeper than just the nationality of the person singing it or the language that the song is in. At least that's my point of view. Do you feel differently? Do you think it has to be in the language for it to be considered part of that genre? I've talked about this a bit before, but I also think it comes down to what your goals are as a person creating music and performing. A Japanese idol style of content creation and performance versus a Western artist are going to look very different. Appreciation for the subculture and what it stands for, people who are participating in this subgenre, whether it's J-pop or K-pop, are not trying to be Japanese or Korean. I just wanted to say that, just in case. I really like having these types of discussions with other people who enjoy these genres, and even people from the outside who may not know much about it. I think all points of view are really valuable. I look forward to seeing what other interesting tidbits you guys spiral my brain off into that I can make little video essays on. In each of these videos, I would love to tell you about some idol groups that you can check out if you're looking for something new. Again, I mostly follow Japanese idols. That's kind of my whole thing, so it will be that. Sorry. Idol group is called Takane no Nadeshiko and Karen no Ivory. Both 10-member groups produced by the popular song producer Honeyworks, whose songs you've probably heard if you've been into J-pop for any amount of time. Cover a lot of his popular songs, and they also have a lot of originals. They're super cute. They have a very traditional but modern idol vibe about them, and I really recommend checking them out. The overseas idol that I want to recommend to you guys is a group that I've already mentioned in this video, Non-Sweet. I'm a big fan of Non-Sweet myself. They are a 5-member group composed of women from Canada, produced by Shun. I respect them quite a lot. The work and the passion that they have for what they do is so clear in everything, even their TikToks to their music videos, and their music is really great. I really recommend giving them a listen. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to, you think I'm going to say subscribe, but what I'm going to say is check out my newest release called One More Night. The video is already up on this channel, and I hope to see you guys soon. From the stars in the sky, I'm Alex Pinku. Goodbye!